Hollywood Boulevard. You make Hollywood Boulevard look good.
It's a beautiful day. This is the kind of day my mother would sometimes say, how can you go into a dark movie theater on a nice day like this? And I said, well, I'm doing it.
Yep.
Same as tonight, you know. Yep. It's nice outside, but it's also nice inside. Especially here, of course. This theater just gives me chills. Every time I come here, I'm never blasé about it. It's just too special.
Best audience I've had all year.
We saw you on the cruise. We saw you on the cruise.
I wish I had something brilliant to say. But you take my breath away. I think I'll stay in the business.
Yes!
After I see you, you give me the proper courage. Night to all.
And I'm an opera singer. I don't need a microphone.
Sing a bit. Sing something.
Who's come by? Did you get Norman Lloyd?
Yeah.
Was that Norman Lloyd singing opera, or was that somebody else? So how about Paul Sorvino? Guys, thank you for coming. This is thrilling. You know, it's a big first ever Robert Osborne Award to Martin Scorsese. It's a big night for us. Thank you for coming. I don't know where I'm supposed to be right now. Right here. So,
You can sing for us. You can come hang out with us.
what are you excited to see? What's
You!
Give me something. What are you most excited for?
Mel Brooks.
Sally Field.
Sally Field!
I thought she was so good on The Essentials. I thought she like managed to sort of be insightful about other actors without being mean, but she was still like honest. I thought it was great, right, but still a little bit mean. Right, exactly. Well, guys, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, what a pleasure. I hope you don't watch the producers on your telephones or your watches. I hope you can see it in a big theater and enjoy it with other people. You're very nice to come here. I love you all. Keep in touch. Don't be strange.
I get to introduce a film about giant ants. Threatening people. Sort of like wintering in Miami with relatives. And then tomorrow I'm going to introduce Creature of the Black Lagoon. I'm such a TCM fan, I guess you guys are too, but I find it I don't know, isn't it nice that it's pre-ironic, it's pre-rancor, and the whole country wasn't pissed off at each other. And we didn't have social media and everybody was clocking everybody's minutest thought, breaking it down. I watch these films and, you know, obviously Robert and now Ben, but Robert was such a sweet presence. I would put it on at night, and even if I didn't watch all of it, I'd watch snippets, and I'd think, I don't want to sound too soft about I love movies, but I also thought it felt safe, and it felt like a lovely vibe, you know, from times of yore. So I miss it, and yet we get to see it every night. So it's cool. It's a perfect thing. Nice to meet you all. I feel like I just got called to the stage and The Price is Right.
Hi, darling.
Hi, how you doing, Doc? All right, guys. Have a fun festival.
Yeah.
So much of what you see up there comes out of Benton's way of allowing the actors that he hires to evolve, to find who we are, and let it be something that even Benton himself couldn't have imagined. And that's so rare and so special. And so for me, and especially, I always felt like my career was evolving, that when I had written in my life, it helped me to evolve in a place that I was so grateful to land.
We were not allowed to go to the movies, you know. My friends and schoolmates would do their chores on Saturday, and the reward for them was to go to the neighborhood movie house, which was called the Eagle on the east side. We were not allowed to do that. We spent most of our time in church, Sunday morning till Saturday night. Sunday morning, I played the piano or the organ. Sunday afternoon, I taught Sunday school. Sunday evening, again, I sang in the choir. And Monday, we taught young students the Bible class. And Wednesday, we had a prayer meeting. And Thursday, we had young people's meeting. And Friday, we had old people's meeting. Saturday, we cleaned the church. So we were forever in church and not permitted to go to the movies. I did not enter a theater until I was a grown woman. And I was asked by the American Red Cross to help them with their fundraising. It was their fundraising month. And so we had these cans that they gave us, and we walked up and down the theater shaking these cans and asking for contributions. Well, that was the first time I had ever been in a movie house. I was mesmerized. I stood at the back of the theater and couldn't believe what I was witnessing. The name of the play was called The Crucible, and I was dumbstruck. And when I left there, I thought, what in God's name just happened to me? And it stimulated my curiosity for the theater. So I began to do research on it to find out what it was and why I had taken so long to discover it. And I will be forever indebted to the American Red Cross for introducing me to help them raise funds and shake the hand in the theater that introduced me to it.
Something his way, he has it all figured out. So you better be damn well prepared to argue your case if you differ with him. Did you and Warren have some arguments? Oh.
From hello.
Who won those arguments?
Sometimes a completely different third party.
Warren had worked on the script with Elaine May, but I guess I'm given to understand when you came in to co-direct and star in the film, and by the way, both of your performances in it, we know your performance was great because it's Oscar nominated, but Buck's performance also just so funny, so vital, I think, to the movie's success. But you wrote some of the picture too. You helped with that as well.
Yeah, that's what we did first when I came on. When I joined the company, I started at the beginning of this film, and I said, well, I'll just fiddle with all the scenes and see it. And so we started from the top. We started from the first scene with Jack and
Jack Warden.
Jack Warden, without whom any picture is not as good as it would have been with him.
Now, look, 40 years have passed. You guys have perspective now. You're
How many years?
I'm afraid it's 40.
Are you serious?
No, it's 20. 20 years have passed since that. The story at the time, and it's so refreshing to see that sometimes such great art comes out of it, was that there was it wasn't a perfectly smooth process of getting the movie made. So you just tell me where this is wrong. I'm dubious of this quote because it is attributed to an insider, which makes me sound like I'm reading something from TMZ, but this is from 1977. The suggestion is that maybe Diane and Julie Christie weren't speaking, and Julie and Warren weren't speaking. You'd never even known about Julie and Warren, that they had been lovers. Warren wasn't speaking to his co-director, Buck Henry. Co-star Charles Grodin wasn't speaking to anyone. And James Mason, who played God, was just staying above it all. It's a funny quote, that's why I wanted to read it, but you guys will tell me if any of that is true or accurate.
Cicely and I made great friends on that film and remain great friends to this day. She is a doll, and there was never a time when all that stuff is such garbage. Well, not all of it. No. There's a few quotes in there that are right on.
60% of it sounds like it might have been right. Is that, you're both artists, does it concern you on a set if there is that sort of artistic and dramatic tension? Is that an indication that the picture might not work, or does that sometimes...
Well, it doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
Of course not. If you really dislike someone on a set, it doesn't facilitate your working with them. That's obvious. That's true whatever business you're in, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I was wondering because, you know, I'm a big sports fan, and we know that sometimes teams, and actually I know certainly Diane, right, you know, but sometimes teammates don't get along at all, and somehow out of it comes excellence.
You know, I had a great acting coach who taught me a great lesson, because that was a question I had. What happens if you have to do a love scene with somebody? You can't stand them. They've got BO. You don't like when they talk. It's just not harmonious. And he said, find something, even if it's an eyebrow that you like. Find something, and that would make it possible. I haven't had that happen often, just once, and the eyebrow really helped.
This is a remake of a 1941 picture. Here comes Mr. Jordan.
Directed by Alexander Hall.
Directed by Alexander Hall. The lead.
You mean Warren's first choice.
Warren's first choice. Okay, all right. Not apparently Buck's first choice. That's good. I like this. You want to tell him who it was, Buck?
A famous fighter.
Famous fighter. The most famous fighter of them all. Muhammad Ali was the initial choice to Warren's.
Yeah.
Thank God for Buck.
And he was interested.
But his second choice was, what's his name, who was trying to get the Democratic nomination.
To play the James Mason part.
Yes.
Eugene McCarthy was his choice to play the God figure, the fighting for the Democratic nomination in 1968. Warren, obviously a big Democratic activist, thought that McCarthy would be good. The studio was not interested in McCarthy. Nor, I take it, was Buck Henry.
No, I didn't think it was a good idea, but...
You thought maybe it should be, an actor. So Muhammad Ali was interested, but he was still fighting.
Yeah.
And the schedule didn't work. So Warren fell back on option number 2, which was Warren. But he's pretty good. And then he changed it because he'd been a really good high school football player, so he changed the script, which I guess were you involved in that too, of changing the script from a boxer to a quarterback. What is your,
Well, I thought, it's an amazing, the genealogy of that story is quite remarkable. It's never failed in any of its forms, and it's been it was done on television, it was done on the stage, and it's never flopped. There's something inherent in the story about true love finding its way through these circuitous paths that affects people, affects audiences. And
do you think that's true?
Yeah.
That
Would
true
I
love
lie
does
to
find
you?
its
Have
way
I ever lied to you? Yeah, I do think it's true. Oh, you mean about love?
About the essence of that film. I never thought about it that way. But is that the hook that's kept generations loving that
I
film?
think it is, because I watched, when we were preparing all this stuff, of course I watched the original movie, and then I watched the television show, and I couldn't believe how good it was. You could see it sometimes, it's remarkable. And the other factor that we were all searching was the original film had what was considered to be, and I certainly agree, or concur, as they say in these kinds of phraseology, that Claude Rains had the greatest voice in film possibly ever. So we were looking for a great voice, and we found one, of course, because I think James is the greatest voice of films of his time.
So you thought maybe he'd be better than a politician who'd never acted before? Strange.
James Mason, I did another film with James, and the man is just one of the best actors that's ever lived.
Just to keep it all in the family, my father was briefly, my father, who by the way was, it's funny that we mentioned Eugene McCarthy. My father was Robert Kennedy's press secretary, and then later ran George McGovern's campaign. But before he got into politics, my dad was an entertainment lawyer, and he had 2 famous clients: Steve McQueen, who he got out of a couple of traffic tickets, and James Mason, who he helped with whatever entertainment lawyers help people with. And he always would say that throughout his life, that James Mason died owing him like $850.
If it'll make him feel better, I'll pay it.
I think we're good. I think we can just we can let it go. So as we don't have much time, I could talk to you guys forever about this movie. One thing that changed about this, unlike the other versions, Chris Rock did a version called Down to Earth, which is okay, certainly not as good.
No, it isn't.
You had just said it always works. That's why I said it. You guys made this funny. There is some humor in Here Comes Mr. Jordan, but you took it up 10 levels.
Which it has to be acknowledged, a major part of it must be laid at the feet of Elaine May.
Yes. So there are 2 people in the history of this business who have been nominated for Academy Awards as producers, directors, writers, and stars, 4 categories for one film. Those 2 people are Orson Welles for Citizen Kane and Warren Beatty twice for Heaven Can Wait and for his next film, Reds. So from both of you, what is it, what makes him special? And I know he's quirky, and I know he's, but what makes him special as a filmmaker?
Detail. He pays such attention to details. You know, it says in the Bible, a little fox has spoiled the vine, and it's true, because one little blink of an eye in a take, one little thing on the table wrong that the masses, he sees every detail. He cut once a scene when we were in the dining room eating our dinner, and the butler's shirt wasn't rolled back as far as he wanted it to, and that's why we had to retake the scene. And I think details is one of the qualities that he has inherited so brilliantly.
Buck?
That's true.
This question, next one, is pretty much just for Diane. Cary Grant.
I told you we had great sex.
I said to Diane before we came out, I said, look, we're at the Turner Classic Movies Film Festival. I don't think there is a star more loved than Cary Grant by this audience and the people who come to this festival and watch our network. I go, is it okay if I ask a question? I thought it might be okay because you wrote a memoir, Dear Cary, in 2011, where you wrote really beautifully about him, and your daughter together speaks so lovingly. And as a, you know, I have a daughter, and of course I had a father, and it's just it's nice. So I wanted to ask, and that's the first thing you said. You want to ask about our sex life? And I was like, no. But apparently you're quite comfortable. So, you're working on something now that of which sort of your relationship with Cary is a part of.
Yes, I wrote a book called Dear Cary, which I'm just so grateful to say that it was on the New York Times bestseller list, but 4.5 years later, without a press agent or a TV series, it was on the New York Times bestseller list again in first place. And that's, I think, thank you. I think that's because people identified with it. It was so much bigger than about who I am and where I've been and what I've done and what movies I've done or not done. It was about relationships and about things that we can all identify with. And a producer called me and said, I'd like to produce you on Broadway. So for the past 5 years, I've been co-writing with two amazing women, a musical. We've written the book, the music, the lyrics, and Cary is about 35% of it. And so I think he'll like it.
What's the title of the musical?
It's called Insatiable Cravings.
Oh yes, I see.
Buck, before we go, any parting thoughts about Heaven Can Wait? Do you have you got some seriously great pieces of entertainment on your resume, including The Graduate, including What's Up Now, including Heaven Can Wait, Get Smart, which you co-created with Mel Brooks, who was on this stage Thursday night for our opening night presentation of the producers.
I can feel him still here.
This won't surprise either of you. Either of you did not sit down the entire time. There was no sitting. By the way, William Friedkin was here last night for The Exorcist. He didn't sit down either. I just mostly want to say to you two, thank you for sitting down. Much easier on your friend Ben. Where does Heaven Can Wait rank of the movies that you have been creatively involved with, Buck?
Where does it rank?
Yeah, in your mind, when you think of all the great work you've done in your career, where do you put Heaven Can Wait? I don't need a number like fourth. 19th, man.
You take fractions? I don't know how to answer that, but it's, it was a good experience. It made me happy. That's all you can ask for.
I know it ranks somewhere high because both of you are eager to see stay for the picture and see how the audience responds to it now, 40 years later, for this wonderful restoration of one of the...
20 years later.
20 years. 20 years. You know what? I got that. It's the 15th anniversary of one of the favorite movies from my 30s. Ladies and gentlemen, Buck Henry, Diane Cannon, enjoy Heaven Can Wait. Thank you for coming. Your quote, and Sean, I suspect that you may have something to say about this. It was an indication of how little the studio thought of the movie that I got the job.
That's true. Although my favorite thing about Animal House, about the saga, is there was a long time where they were developing the screenplay and all this, and the one they finally gave me was extremely funny, funniest thing I ever read, but truly offensive and gross. And I was really hired to kind of supervise a rewrite. And my main contribution was just telling, because it was brilliant, Harold Ramis, Doug Kenny, and Chris Miller. Yeah. And the script was brilliant. But like the Lampoon, it was racist, it was misogynist, it was anti-Semitic, and lots of vomit, projectile vomit. But I told the writers when we worked together, and these were brilliant guys, but I said, they can't all be pigs. You have to like somebody. There has to be good guys and bad guys. But that's the secondary thing. The most fabulous thing is I learned that Universal Studios had taken the script that offended me, and they offered it to John Schlesinger, Alan Pakula, George Roy Hill, Bob Rafelson, to shows.
So you were what, the 5th, 6th choice, something like that?
36th.
So this cast, then, Sean, this was not the cast the studio wanted. Saturday Night Live had made it big. And obviously you got Belushi, but you guys wanted the names from the cast. You wanted Aykroyd, you wanted Chevy Chase, you wanted Bill Murray, you wanted Brian Doyle Murray in the cast.
I want to draw a distinction. There was the senior management, and who didn't actually know who the names you just mentioned were.
Saturday Night Live, by the way, had only been on one year.
1 year.
And the breakout star was Chevy Chase. John and Danny and the rest, Bill Murray wasn't there yet. Brian Doyle Murray wasn't there yet. But Chevy was the big star.
But
That's what they wanted.
John, you thought, no, you weren't interested in Chevy Chase. Did you deceive Chevy Chase into not taking this? This is a great story. I hope it's true.
Thank you for that.
Was from Second City. John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd were from Second City. Chevy was from the Lampoon. There was the National Lampoon had a Broadway, off-Broadway show. It had a radio series. The radio show where people like, was produced and directed by John Belushi, and it had people like Christopher Guest and Harold Ramis, Gilda Radner, and my point is just, so Harold and Doug and Chris knew these performers before Saturday Night Live. And when the script was written, Otter was written for Chevy Chase, D-Day was written for Danny Aykroyd, who is a motorhead, Bluto was written for John Belushi. I wanted John Belushi and I wanted Dan Aykroyd because nobody knew who they were. I did not want Chevy because he was a big star. And I'll tell this one story and then don't talk to them because Chevy was riding high. He was like, everyone in Hollywood wanted him. He came out to LA and we had a lunch, you were there, And the producers, Ivan Reitman and Matty Simmons, knew that if we got Chevy, then the studio would probably make the movie. So he was smoking, he was at his most obnoxious. He had a huge cigar, and but he was the toast of Hollywood. He was like being touted as the next Cary Grant. So I really...
It's a tough room to say that.
That's only because it's many years later and you know Chevy Chase. This was before he'd made a movie. And so, I actually made 2 movies with Chevy, and he was very funny in Three Amigos.
I made Flats with Chevy. He's the greatest.
With Tim.
But my point is, I didn't want Chevy. I wanted someone that you believe as the character. Because Chevy's capable of playing Chevy. He's very funny, but he's always Chevy. So, they were just, do you know the difference between a brown nose and a shithead? Depth perception. And the producers and the studio executives were just telling him he was a comic genius, and boy, he's got to do this movie, and yada yada. And I knew that he was offered foul play. I think Colin Higgins made foul play. It was opposite Goldie Hawn, who was a massive star at the time. So I said, when it came time to me, and Ivan goes, John, tell Chevy why he should be in our movie. I said, Chevy, if you're in our movie, it's an ensemble. And John Belushi will be in it, and there'll be lots of talented performers. So you'll be part of an ensemble, just like Saturday Night Live. If you do foul play, you'll be like the romantic lead opposite a big star. You'll have your name first. You'll be like a straight, serious, handsome, romantic leading man. But if you're in our movie, it'll be like Clown Car. You know, you'll be like Saturday Night Live. And under the table, Ivan Reitman is kicking. I was very proved. Anyway, Chevy turned us down. Foul play was a big hit.
Foul play was a big hit.
Thank you, John. We're out of time.
So, Tim, so then that obviously worked out nicely for you.
Absolutely.
How did you...
They did not want me to come in. I had, long hair was that period in my life, and the guys in the studio said, no, he's a cowboy or a surfer. We don't think he can be.
You were in the Quest.
I was in the Quest with Kurt Russell, an NBC series, and so they just did not see me as this character. And one of your compatriots, Tom Mount, I'd done a little picture at Universal called Almost Summer as a favor. They said, just get rid of him, just let him come in an audition, say no, and we'll be done with this. And so I got to come in and audition with Peter Riegert, and I've been in the Groundlings here in Los Angeles. And it was my first comedy, and things worked out very well. And but it was great to have John Belushi surrounded by real actors and not comics that gave the story real credibility. And I think the whole movie was played straight and for real. I think, which is what makes it so fun.
Part of the way it was played straight was Elmer Bernstein's music, which you just had him score like a thriller, right?
Not like a thriller, but like a drama, like a straight. We can't see you at all, but we just saw the 10 Commandments in this theater. It was fabulous. So Grauman's is having an Elmer Bernstein double feature. The 10 Commandments and him. I went to school with Peter Bernstein, Elmer's son. And when I was 15, Elmer took us to see the Beatles at the Hollywood Bowl. So I knew Elmer for a long time. And the head of the music department, Harry Garfield, said to me, who do you want to score the picture? And I said, I'd like to talk to Elmer Bernstein. And Harry said, Elmer Bernstein won't return your call. And I remember just thinking, oh yeah. So Elmer came in, watched the movie, said it's very funny, but why am I here? And I said, because I want you to score it dramatically. Which was totally opposite of the way comedies had been scored. A classic comedic score is like Henry Mancini's brilliant score for the Pink Panther. Comedies were scored comedically. And I said, I want this essentially straight. And he did a brilliant job. And by the way, went on to do Airplane, Ghostbusters, Trading Places. You know, Elmer, I ruined his career.
Speaking of music, Stephen, you play a tune in the film.
I was in it. I also wrote the theme song.
Yeah, you wrote the theme song.
Am I the only guy with the delay? What?
No, it sounds, here's fine out there, but I hear it.
Oh, no.
So you,
Hey! Okay, now it's
Stephen, is this your first time using a microphone?
Yeah, it really is, except in the studio.
So you have a great scene in the movie, and I want to talk to you about the theme song, but a great scene in the movie.
I gave my love a cherry, red had no stone. Oh, that song?
Yeah, that song. So Belushi comes, takes your guitar, breaks it against the wall. You look terrified in the movie.
I was terrified in the movie.
Did that go as planned? Did it?
Well, we just kind of made it up, you know, at the time, you know, it wasn't in the script, we just kind of made it up, and I was supposed to originally go downstairs and flirt with Karen Allen, right? That's what he told me to do when I first got there, and then they changed it, and he said, no, Belushi's going to break your guitar, and okay.
The guitar was supposed to, he knew that he was supposed to.
The guitar was supposed to break easily because it was scored, cut. Right. And Belushi thought he would hit it once and it would explode. It didn't. And John Belushi went crazy. And Stephen was quite right to be terrified. And then every time I see it, my biggest laugh line in the movie is when John hands the remnants back. John, they've seen it 40 times. And he hands it back and so quietly says, sorry.
I'll tell you something that's little known that just, you know, happened to me about 10 years ago. I got this email from the baseball commission, and I was like, why are they contacting me? I don't play baseball. And it was because they wanted to play the scene from Animal House, you know, where he breaks my guitar and incite fans in the stadium so they would play it at different baseball games. And they gave me money. And I was like, this is good. More money than I made doing the film.
So, is it correct that you guys, the cast, came out to Eugene, University of Oregon, like a week early, that there was some bonding?
Some of us came out, right?
Right. Oh, you were not included in this?
Some of us were not included, right, honey?
No, I came later. John brilliantly had the Deltas come out 5 or 6 days early and bonded, and they did lots of heinous things, and were never punished for it. And then when I got there, the first thing that happened is I went and got my per diem, and then they said, just in case they change their mind, you want to have some cash so you can get a bus right now. And they said, John wants to see you in the coffee shop on the other side of the parking lot of the Roadway Inn. Go over there, leave your bags here, go over there. So I went over, and I went in the door, crowded coffee shop, very crowded. I saw in the corner John, who I knew from having auditioned with him. I knew Bruce from various bars in New York.
And Shakespeare in the Park.
And Shakespeare in the Park, which we did before we went to the bars. And Peter Riegert, I knew, so I saw them, and John said, come on over, he's waving, come on over. So I went over, happy to be accepted into this group of people. I get about 10 or 15 feet from the table, and John says, that's him, that's Niedermeyer, get him. And they started throwing food at me and taunting me and yelling terrible things at me. So I knew where I stood, and I knew what my job was from then on.
In fact, he came in with James Doughton, who plays
Marmalade.
Yes, I remember this exactly, because, and I didn't say get him, but I did say this is Mark Metcalf and James Doughton. They're the Omegas, or maybe they're Niedermeyer and whatever, Marmalade and Denim Wall of food. That part is true.
So because Mark's story is consistent with what Kevin Bacon said, who made his because he said there was always, at the Roadway Inn, there was always a party going on in Bruce's room, and that he was never invited.
They were always welcome, they just couldn't take the heat.
Yeah, Bruce stole a piano from and with Tim and brought it across and put it in his room. I got the because I knew I would not be going to those parties, even if I was cordially invited with an engraved invitation. But I got the hotel to move my room to right above his room, so I wouldn't be able to get any sleep. So I'd stay up late at night listening to them, having a lot of fun, studying my lines like a good actor, and polishing my boots to get me into the mood.
So, I mean, you know, it's funny. I mean, obviously, you guys are all professional actors and take your jobs seriously, but...
Most of them.
Right, sure. They knew the ones that I meant. But, so you deliberately didn't go to the parties because you thought that would influence, perhaps, or take you out of that character.
Yeah, that was, I think, what John had designed when he had them come early and us come late. He wanted us to live in a place that was... where we could find some authenticity quickly, which is basically what the job is about, I think. Whether it's comedy or drama, you're still trying to find an authentic reaction.
So Deltas did come up a week early. They all got their haircuts together. Right. And they also all, because they all had long hair and beards.
Saw the Deathmobile.
Yeah.
You took us out to see the Deathmobile.
Well, they did the graffiti in the Delta House.
That's right. And we went to Cottage Grove. We had a field trip to Cottage Grove where the parade was.
Which is where Buster Keaton shot the general.
Oh, wow. The right room for that reference. Nicely done. You're catching on. Don't disparage Cary Grant. Praise Buster Keaton.
I did not disparage Cary Grant.
Don't let the facts get in the way of what I just said.
It's a theme. Have you noticed that's a theme?
That's right. This sounds, Martha, very much like it was a boys' club. What was your experience?
As the only estrogen of the group here, I would like to represent it. It was very much, I mean, we really did have that ostracization, is that a word?
That's right.
With the deltas and the omegas, but I managed to break through after a while because Bruce's room wasn't far from my room. And I heard the music too, and I love music, so I did go to the parties in disguise. I don't think they knew I was Babs, honey. I went to the parties, we had music.
All women were welcome.
I was going to say, see Bruce saying, I'm sorry, only our fraternity members are allowed in.
It was an extraordinary company of actors. And it really was. A lot of them, more than half the cast, it was their first movie. And others were, gosh, I'm trying to think, you know, Donald Sutherland and Cesare De Nova, and especially John Vernon were old veterans. And Verna Bloom, we had a wonderful cast.
And Stephen First, also, it was such a critical part of the movie. And here, go ahead.
Speaking of Stephen, who I really adored, we did hang out together because we were the ostracized ones of the group. But his wife is here tonight, Lorraine. I would like her to stand up and acknowledge her because we love Stephen so much. I appreciate it.
Lorraine first.
And we all love Stephen. You all love Stephen. He was such a good partner.
By the way, Lorraine is the one when the character Flounder says, I would like 10,000 marbles, please. He sang it to his wife.
So,
just one other note about this august group, which is, so I'm the studio executive on the movie, and everything about this movie has been a problem. The studio hates it, they don't want to finance it, they don't want to see it made. Finally, we get them to. They had all these weird ideas about who should be the director, but he was the guy, he was the right guy. And we led a precarious existence. So there they are, up on location, preparing to start shooting. And John calls me and says, listen, there's a small issue. The cast actually got into a fight with a fraternity up here.
Here we go. They had it coming. Who's going to start? start this.
You go ahead, Jay.
No, I finished it. You start. All right. I started it after. Okay. Now, you go.
Short scene. Tim had found some local ladies that would take us to fraternity parties because we had not been in fraternity.
This was like 2 days before shooting.
It was all Friday night.
All for research.
All for research. So we go to where we shot the interiors of the Delta House, and it was a relatively poor house. It was a very boring Friday night, and we stayed there maybe 12 minutes. And then the girl said, we're going to take you to the rich house. So
You were with Karen Allen.
Yes,
Karen.
Karen.
Wait a minute. We were with Karen, we were with Peter Rieger, and we were with Jimmy Doughton.
Doughton was there.
He was actually with us.
But he ran first.
Well, you were sitting in your room stewing. You must have having
Less
the
condition
shit
of
beat
that.
out of him with us.
So we walk into this house, and it's a big house, and there's a lot of music. They've got a band, they've got money, they've got 150 members and dates. So we walk in, I stop to look at a piano. Not that I was going to steal another piano. But I look at it, and the guy comes up behind me and says, you got to get out of here. And I went, oh, let me just go get my friends. He said, don't worry, your friends will be out. I said, I sensed hostility. So I said, sure. And I went outside, and I waited a few minutes. The big white enamel front door up 4 or 5 steps swung open. Hurling invective were all these mostly freshman athletic rushes. And here came Tim, and here came Peter Rieger, and then Jamie, who is tall, 6'6", has had a belly full, and they all had cups of beer. And Jamie got tired of being called whatever they were calling us. It was rough stuff. And he went, oh, poof, and he backhanded a beer. Now I'm 50 feet away. He backhands a beer.
Okay, I get to
see
talk
a
soon,
white,
don't I?
foamy arc. And then cut to Jamie Widows.
No. Okay, so you didn't get in the house. Right, okay. Well, the rest of the group you all went upstairs. There was a room, hallway, and somehow I got to the door, I was the last guy, and a hand went across the door and said, where do you think you're going? And I said, well, my friends are upstairs, and I'm Hoover. I mean, I'm just gonna see if I can get my
In a movie that hasn't been shot.
That's right. Charmingly incompetent. That's what you wanted. Wait a minute. So I'm downstairs, you guys are upstairs, Bruce has gone outside, and these guys are circling me. And at one point, one of them said, and it was just fantastic, except it wasn't. He said, you Hollywood fags think you're going to come up here and steal all our women. And obviously, there's a lot wrong with that sentence.
Tim is thinking,
yeah. Right. So I was getting scared. And then all of a sudden, much like what you saw a beat later, the upstairs door bursts open and you guys are being...
We were escorted out.
It's a chain of events.
A herd of drunk athletes on Friday night said, you can't be in this, nobody who's not our guest, no other men can be in this fraternity, you have to leave. And I was being very gracious and said, fine, we didn't mean any harm, we'll leave right now, let's go. I herded all of our group out there, like 5 or 6 of us, rushed them down the stairs, and we made it right to the door. I got everybody out. I got out on the porch, the door closed, and then here comes this beer.
The guy says to me on the way out, he throws his hand out to me to shake my hand, and he says, have a nice night. And I just said, fuck you.
this beer,
that started it all.
This white foamy arc of beer foam covered the entire proceedings, at which point it was like that chain reaction experiment when you throw a ping pong ball into a room of mousetraps covered with ping pong balls. There goes Peter Rieger. Boom! There goes Jamie Widows. Boom! I see Tim circled by these guys on the front steps, and I'm out there going, holy shit, you're going to kill him. And I literally said to Karen Allen, who was standing next to me, and I was wearing a hat because I was embarrassed that my long hair was cut off. So I took my hat and coat off, handed them to Karen Allen, and said, I'll be right back. I did. And I walked up there, and it was windy, and there was a big limb right over there, and I said, should I pick that limb up and go in swinging? Because they could accidentally kick Tim in the head and kill him. And I'm doing this for them. So I said, no, if you take that limb, they'll take it away from you and shove it where the moon don't shy. So I go up there and I just come off of a long Shakespeare run. I had a lot of voice. And I made the mistake of thinking they just wanted us to leave. I said really loud, "Let him go!" As I was walking up the steps, and I see Tim now on all fours. Somebody been rope-a-doping, protecting him. And I see him on all fours, and now I reach the top step. Somebody sucker punches me. I went, bam! I went off the top step. Bam! I land in the sidewalk. I look over and Tim's next to me, and we think somehow we're going to get up and walk away with dignity. We get up and we start walking with dignity.
I said, don't, whatever we do, don't run.
That's right.
Don't run, they'll kill us. We got knocked down again.
And I said, Timmer, we're going to have to